Hello everybody! Welcome back to whatever the fuck it is we do around here whenever the hell we show up. Apologies for not streaming last week. We were unfortunately engaging in some technical and geographical difficulties, which will hopefully get fixed the next time I get a look at Chris's computer. And it doesn't try and bite me this time.
Yeah. Well, we're working on that. It is a mouthy piece of shit. So it is.
Exactly.
So, yeah. God damn it, Philadelphia. Good evening to you too, you cunt. Anyway.
Less than a minute in for oh god. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
The Ranger.
Did you know?
I have the fucking PDF. I made the PDF. I just forgot to put it on the Patreon. I'll have that on, at the very least tomorrow morning. I completely forgot to do that.
He is a very busy lad.
My life has been a shit show the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, whoop.
But also, that is incredibly cool. You're planning to use it in your new campaign. Fuck yes! Tell us everything about how it goes, please.
Do, Dragon.
That sounds so fucking cool.
I would really like to know how it's coming out.
Dragon called you a gobshite.
Of course, Dragon called me a gobshite. I am a gobshite.
Yeah.
Well, anything you can tell us to help improve it, because it's one of the ones that I'm very happy to change later, because of course it's big and complicated. But I do have the PDF, like the fancy PDF that I put up. I just lost track of everything. What are you, my mother?
Anyway, sending you good head pats.
Anyway, we are moving away from our beloved Ranger and on to what is genuinely my least favourite class in all of D&D, although that is changing somewhat. I don't have a wife, so so that kind of leaves all the good boy out of me. Chris is the one with the wife.
Yeah, I have a wife, and she does not call me a good boy. She calls me a cunt.
She calls you a cunt,
as it should be. Yeah, exactly. You know, we have there's a great deal of affection as we call each other cunts.
Right. But yes, we are going to be doing our first subclass for the Sorcerer.
I mean, you are what you eat.
No comment. No comment, Dragon. No comment. Right.
Oh, my word.
We'll be engaging.
That entertained me more than it should have.
In Sorcerer. Now, a couple of things about
Sorcerer. Yes.
You think our dad's gonna come back with the milk? Sorcerers. Very interesting conceptually. I don't think they've been executed great in the past. I do like the new Sorcerer, like the new. Let me look over here.
The 2024
Sorcerer and all the kind of wee twists to it are all very interesting. I think very fun. So we are going to do another thing. The other thing, from in previous times, Sorcerers did not get like an expanded spell list like every other full caster, with the exception of Wizards. I do like the idea of Constitution being the casting modifier for Sorcerers. I really do like that in concept. However, I think if you were going to make Constitution the casting ability for Sorcerers, you'd have to switch skills up a little bit, because the unfortunate thing is every other stat has direct benefits to other things. And admittedly, Con being really good for your hit points and having Sorcerers be kind of chunky that way is good, but I think you'd need to add in some Con-based skills to make it a bit more balanced. Because at the moment, I think the only class that really has to focus Constitution is Barbarians. So yeah, I like con-based casting for Sorcerers in concept. but I think there needs to be like a little bit of jiggery pokery to make it work.
I feel like my concern about a con-based caster. I mean, I like it particularly for, you know, like I have, you know, I have a paladin who multi-classed into giant soul sorcerer which I really enjoy, as a piece of unearthed arcana. But so I think that particularly for something like giant soul or like phoenix soul sorcery or like wild magic, you know, like these kind of like descended from specific things, I think con makes a great deal of sense as a casting stat. However, I think if you do that, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma start to become a lot less. It becomes a lot less point to them. Like, wisdom is good because loads of stuff requires wisdom saves. But, like, intelligence and charisma really start to become less important, he says as his phone squeaks at him.
There is actually another point that I think you've just brought up, Chris. If you made Constitution the casting ability for sorcerers, they would become the single best multi-class option for marshals.
Oh god, yeah.
Because you wouldn't have,
like,
you'd cut out so much of the mads, and you would and it would make
barbarian sorcerer
like
all the time.
Sorcerers are already a good multi-class because you get, in at least 2014, you get a shitload at level 1 because you get 4 cantrips, you get a subclass feature, and you get a couple of spell slots, which is a really, like, sorcerers were the best 1 level dip, except for maybe barbarians, but barbarian I would recommend doing at least 2.
Yeah,
the sorcerers you just went straight in. But if you made them con based, they become uncomfortably splashable. They're already really good for being a caster with a Constitution saving throw proficiency, because it means that you're not losing concentration on powerful spells. Like, I think you did a bit more, for example, as we might be about to do now, a bit more of a nature-focused sorcerer, and then multi-classed it with druid. I think you would have a really, really fucking scary caster on your hands, because that's kind of the one downfall of druids, is having powerful concentration spells that they can lose if you give them that proficiency in con saves, and that come from being a sorcerer. Then fuck yeah. So I think actually, I think charisma might be there to nerf sorcerers a bit and give them but also it gives them a little bit of outside kind of combat utility with having them access to a little bit more skills, which wizards don't have. And I think that's always been the big problem with sorcerers, is not being able to differentiate themselves, or at least give themselves a unique enough feeling from wizards. Because the number of times I have looked at sorcerer and gone, why would I not just play a wizard? Because they're more versatile and have better spell lists.
I mean, if we want to talk about just like 5e's issues with sorcerers, I've just, the sheer number of unearthed arcana subclasses that have been released for sorcerers, like just about every single unearthed arcana book that's come out seems to have had a sorcerer subclass in it that hasn't made it to the table. Like, they've thrown so much mud at the wall with sorcerers.
Yeah.
And that's wild to me, because like wizards have like the most like subclasses as
I think they have the second most.
Rules is written.
Clerics have the most.
Okay, clerics and wizards. Yeah. But like none of them have anywhere near as much unearthed arcana.
So it's the thing is like
this is crazy.
Sorcerers work because they've got a lot of. The thing is, like, sorcerers are very interesting because they have a central feature, which is their sorcery points and their meta magic. Sorcery points are fine; they're a resource you can just bugger about with no ending. I'm yet to see a sorcerer subclass that properly interacts with meta magic. So you
Yeah,
end up
I kind of
with
feel
this
like
kind of disparate feeling of a class.
Yeah, I will give you that. I definitely feel like the majority of sorcerer subclasses, certainly as I have seen them, have been, like trying to do their own special thing
Yeah.
whilst ignoring the sorcerer stuff.
Yeah.
But also, and I'm just going to throw this out there, because metamagic is the thing that differentiates sorcerers from wizards. I really don't feel like they're that great. I think some of them can be really useful, but equally well, I think that it become quite complex to really make meta magic work the way you want it to. You really got to think about it. Whereas if you go warlock, invocations are much simpler and much more accessible.
This is one thing I will say that I really like about the new sorcerer. With the innate sorcery and its kind of upgrades that you get later in the class at level 7 especially, being able to use 2 meta magic options and have, because that multiplies your interactions massively, and it really it kind of gets down into what I think the sorcerer should be, which is fucking with spellcasting. When you have that innate magic within you, you're not necessarily going to be casting spells in the same kind of prescribed way that a wizard would learn or a cleric would be gifted. You're doing it off the cuff, maverick kind of. Sorcerers are the improv comedians of D&D.
Okay.
They're doing mad shit and they're coming up with weird concepts. So being able to twist how spells are done and fuck around with them is a really fun thing. However, it would be an absolute fucking nightmare to implement a really bespoke spell fuckery system that was just for one class. So I think metamagic is a decent compromise on that front, but it needs more options. And I like that I think they've expanded the number of metamagic options you can have as a sorcerer.
Okay. I am going to put to you an alternative view on sorcerers, because I get what you're saying. I get that because magic comes to them naturally, they should be able to do weird stuff that doesn't make sense and doesn't rhyme with the natural order. I need to put my phone on silent. However, I think I put it to you that instead, that a sorcerer is like a basic anime villain from a magic anime. Something like Fairy Tail or Mashley or any of these 1,000,001 dime a dozen fucking shonen shows where new bad guy turns up, new bad guy has unique special power. It is lightning, it is fire, it is spiders. And that's their one thing.
Yeah.
And they do that one thing like mental, but it's that one thing. That to me is what sorcerers should be. They should
specialists.
Yeah, but not in the same way that a transmutation wizard does only transmutation, but more like a sorcerer would be like, my soul is from a tree, so all of my power involves tree.
I mean, we do have
just way more niche than anything else.
I mean, we have a lot of subclasses for that, because we've got things like storm sorcery, divine, shadow magic, and at least the
storm sorcery
psionics so far. That's not true.
Yeah, but storm sorcery should, at minimum, be able to do shit that the storm cleric can do at level 2. Like Tempest Cleric being able to go max damage on our lightning or thunder spell.
I think the problem there is actually maybe that the Tempest Cleric is OP as fuck.
I mean, I think the Tempest Cleric is OP as fuck in particular circumstances. It has a stunning ability, but
No, that's
A
monks.
storm
Monks have
sorcerer.
ability.
Storm sorcerer should be even more lightning. Like, to the detriment of other stuff.
That's a hard one to swing, design-wise, because you want...
It is.
Yeah.
But that's why I think using meta magic to say this is the thing that unites all sorcerers. It's not the spell list. The spell list does not unite all sorcerers. All sorcerers are different. But the meta magic is all the same. They can all do levels of jiggery fuckery, but they have to do it in their single special place. And if you want to do anything else, you go to multi-class. That's my feeling. And I could be wrong.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I very much see your point, but I think both of our viewpoints are very valid in this sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's get on with actually making the class, shall we?
All right. We're going to do a subclass.
Yeah,
we're here to do...
40 minutes in, we haven't touched it yet.
This is true.
So, we're doing a Fey Sorcerer. What kind of fairy shit do you think would be a good idea? Because I'm thinking... Because we've got a couple of examples. There's a Fey Ranger, there's a Fey Warlock, there's kind of Fey-ish bards. I don't believe the two ideas can mesh mechanically because...
yeah, that's the problem.
It's about...
a little diametrically opposed,
being
bros.
a hyper-specialist and being able to massively adapt. I think they're two opposite ideas. But we're not going to rebuild the entire sorcerer class. Because if we're going to go through this and rebuild every class, fuck it, we might as well just write our own RPG.
I mean, it's going to come to that eventually. You do know that.
At some point, yes.
Yeah, but not for some years. Once we've got time.
Once we've got time and enough people who are willing to jump onto a Kickstarter for it. Because holy shit, the amount of work that would be. I mean, just seeing the amount of work
that's not... Dragon's got a reasonable suggestion though, because about like... I mean, that does play into, similar to the giant soul sorcerer on Earth Arcana, which I love because you pick what type of giant you're descended from, which I think is great. I
would maybe limit it to Seelie and Unseelie.
That's fair. Fae is a broad fucking term.
Yeah. Because what I'm thinking is, if you think about sort of the Circle of Stars druid, where you kind of got the wheel and the woe kind of set up, and you kind of go in between two. Or what you could do is take a bit of a Ladrin flavor from it and do seasonal stuff. And choose what season you're associating with. And consequently,
that could be
court,
cool.
Winter, spring,
summer court, winter
autumn.
court.
Don't type and drive, man. This is... Trust me, this one's not going to be good enough to be worth buying.
No, absolutely. Fucking eyes on the road, ears on us.
Exactly. Listen to the sound of my voice. This is the voice of the Mr. Ons. Right,
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, god damn, that's such a long time.
So... Right now we have the practical problem there. If we do Seelie and Unseelie, we only have to design 2 sides of things. If we do seasonal, we have to design 4.
This is true. And also, like, let's be entirely fair. When we're talking about Fae, are we going to go D&D Fae, or are we going to do Celtic folklore Fae, which is what most people think of when they talk about Fae?
I think we have to go Feywild. D&D Fae.
I think given the setting, that feels the most...
Yeah, because also, holy shit. If we go down the roots of Celtic Fae, we'll be here forever, and I have not researched it well enough.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
I was thinking. Well, I mean, I'm looking at. Well, also in terms of sorcerers, and this is one of the other problems sorcerers have. The levels are pretty spaced out.
Yeah, first.
Like sorcerers really don't get a lot.
First, 6th, 14th, and 18th.
Yeah, like between 6th and 14th, they get nothing aside from more spell slots and more spells.
Yeah, for some reason I put 6th level in here twice.
What? Because a bunch of them get 2 things at 6th.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
not sure what
yeah, so Psionic Sorcerer gets 2 things at 6th. Clockwork Soul only gets 1 thing at 6th. Draconic Bloodline, 1 thing at 6th. Okay, maybe it's just the Psionics.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's just.
I think it's 2. I think it should actually be 2 at first rather than 2 at 6th. Because a lot of them get 2 at first. The Shadow Magic gets Eyes of the Dark and Strength of the Grave. Divine Soul gets.
Again, I'd say
it's Divine Magic. So I think I've set the template.
Lunar Soul gets 2 things at 6th. Yeah, Lunar Soul gets 2 things at 6th.
Clockwork gets 2 at first.
Psionic gets 2 things at 6th. Does Clockwork get 2 at first?
Clockwork gets
no,
2
it gets
at
1
first.
thing at first.
What?
Gets Restore Balance.
Yeah, Clockwork Magic and Restore Balance.
And that's it.
To be fair, Clockwork Magic is actually just the expanded spell list.
Yeah, like all of them get expanded spell list.
No, they don't.
Like it's a shit expanded spell list, but like they all.
No, they don't.
What do you mean they don't? Oh yeah, Draconic don't.
Draconic don't. Wild Magic doesn't. Storm actually doesn't. Divine Soul technically does, but only lightly. Shadow Magic does not.
Oh yeah.
Most the first like
you know what?
Psionic
Yeah.
and Clockwork were the first ones to actually.
Lunar does.
That has changed.
What?
New in the for the new.
To be fair,
Sorcerer,
Lunar is a Dragonlance class. To be fair.
Yeah, for the new Sorcerer.
Oh yeah,
sorry. Expanded spell list.
Yeah. Tell me about the new. Right. Okay. Hang on. This is.
So
let me get
the new
Sorcerer 2024
gets, pretty decent expanded spell list because it means they get Alter Self, Chromatic Orb, Command, and Dragon's Breath at level 3. Fear and Fly at level 5, Arcane Eye and Charm Monster at level 7, and Legend Lore and Summon Dragon at level 9. Which, fucking course they do. Wild Magic still does not, but that's just Wild Magic has a whole pile of bullshit because it's Wild Magic.
Yeah.
I don't think I've gone through the new Wild Magic yet.
Also, Wild Magic is never Wild Magic-y enough. But yeah, but even looking at the 2024 class features table, like when we were talking about the Ranger the other day and how the Ranger gets something every single fucking level, Sorcerer gets.
We fixed it.
But Sorcerer in the new one.
Yeah.
Spellcast and Night Sorcery at first, Font of Magic, Meta Magic second, Subclass at third, ASI at fourth, Ability at fifth, Subclass feature at sixth. Ability at 7th, ASI at 8, nothing for 9.
More meta magic.
A new meta magic at 10, nothing at 11, ASI at 12, nothing at 13, subclass feature 14, nothing at 15, ASI 16, a meta magic at 17, subclass feature 18, epic boon, arcane apotheosis. That is a huge amount of dead space in there.
I think sorcerers and wizards are the only ones I can kind of forgive for this, and wizards a lot more than sorcerers because they have so much more of a focus on their direct spell casting.
Yeah, but
still not great.
And we've already covered this. Wizards get way more spells and spell casting than sorcerers do.
In fact, wizards get twice as many spells as sorcerers because they get 2 on every level up.
Yeah. So the sorcerers are just you have you get to the next level of spellcasting, but nothing to support it because wizards are better than you. It's bullshit.
Yeah, so we're not, like I said, we're not rebuilding the sorcerer class.
I know. I'm just saying that it's
have to start small.
We do, okay. I mean, to be fair, what's smaller than a sorcerer subclass? First level, 6th level, 14th, and 18th.
I mean clerics, because they all get the same shit at 8th.
Oh yeah. Not rebuilding yet. You stop typing. Start driving,
It
dragon.
depends. Look, if we're gonna do that, we're gonna have to invite Rye on as a special guest because he fucking loves sorcerers.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah, and I don't know if either of us care enough about sorcerers to want to rebuild them.
I can learn to care enough.
I can.
I think everybody. I'm just. Every Pokemon is someone's favorite. Every class has to be someone's favorite.
That is true. That is true. I mean, we proved that, but with our efforts towards the Ranger, and the design team proved that with their efforts towards the Monk, because those were always two kind of like red-headed stepchildren.
So now we need to deal with Magic's red-headed stepchild, the Sorcerer.
So
the literal bastard of Magic.
The literal bastard of Magic. So I like the idea of having it fixed. Take an idea from the Giant Soul, right? Where we're having it based on the Fey courts, either Celia or Unseelie, or we do the seasonal courts, depending on which kind of setup you're doing. Unfortunately, there's so little written about the Feywild that both are canon. I think a cool idea to take from that would be to have one of the things at first level be a changing cantrip.
Okay.
To go along with it. Like each court gets a different cantrip. Just to give you that little extra bit. But because the Feywild is so chaotic and so changing, you can change your court. Probably over a long rest.
Okay.
To give you that, because that gives you... I know you're wanting to talk about being a specialist with the Sorcerer, but that, I think this is... We're basically a very fluid and very chaotic setup, so I think adaptability is the name of the game.
We're talking about the Fae here.
Yes.
And like specializing in the Fae means specializing in being fucking weird and inconsistent.
Well, that's the thing.
Whilst following a definite central logic.
Being siloed in the Fae is such an antithesis to everything that goes on.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I'm thinking of, is like, if we give, not necessarily every feature is like 4 different things, because Jesus Christ, I'll lose my mind. And we've only got like an hour and 10. But having like some alternating spells that you can kind of change with the thing, because I know you can change being an Eladrin. I know you can change what kind of Eladrin you are through some kind of process. I'm trying to remember what book they're in.
Don't know.
Is it Volos?
Changing, being able to flow between subclass features. I mean, that's actually not a bad idea. Kind of almost like with the Warlock getting to choose invocations based on stuff. I think that could be kind of cool. Like, you get like a kind of, here is a small charcuterie board of options you can choose from. There you go.
Sort of like how the Hunter does it for the Ranger, but better.
Yeah.
I know you like the Hunter.
Yes. I do, but I fully admit that it has faults.
Yes, it does.
Yes. Although the ability to, if you are surrounded, hit every single person for the number of people that there are next to you is kind of great.
I think the one thing... I think we can actually fix one of my big problems with the Hunter if we take that inspiration. Because it fits thematically. And because one of my big problems is I don't think you can change which of those features you have.
No, with the Hunter you lock in.
Yeah, and I don't like that. Because if you pick one that
so if
turns out to be too situational that you don't like, the rules say you can't change. You could, I mean, any halfway reasonable DM will let you change. But, it's not a great thing written into the class. So,
but I think, so I think if we treating it more like invocations with the Warlock, you've got, each time you get an ASI, you can be like, well, maybe I will change this.
I don't think we can do it. Maybe, no, I don't necessarily think we do it every ASI, because that's only like 5 chances.
For every 4 levels. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, you could do. I mean, the warlock is every level up. You can change your invocations.
So maybe I think we do it like that, because that's the same as the sorcerer's spells.
Yes.
Because that's how you change your spell list as a sorcerer, is when you level up. So I think having that, just making that part of that piece of upkeep, will probably make it flow quite well.
Okay.
Because the other option is doing it on rests.
Which I think we would need to maybe tone down the abilities a bit if you're going to be switching them that often. But I don't know.
I mean, that's true. Like, if you do it every 4 levels, then you have kind of that. It's big on your character. It's sort of like, okay, are we trading big progression of character with mercurial temperaments? Like, it's kind of what flavor of I chose the wrong fucking thing for this stream.
Wait, you chose the complicated one when neither of our heads are working.
I chose the complicated one when I thought it was going to be simple. The list. You literally fell for the oldest trick in the book. The Fae were like, here is a simple yes or no question. And you didn't realize the answer was watermelon. And now you've given up your name and your soul. I started a land war in Asia.
You did, in fact, start a land war in Asia.
I've already look, I have already at least once in my life messed with a Sicilian when death is on the line. So.
Yeah. But yeah, like, you know, you have literally fallen for like the standard Fae trick. You took something that seemed simple on the surface and then discovered too late that it was very complicated, and now you've overcommitted and your soul is forfeit.
So a little peek behind the screen, guys, is we have a shared Google Doc that has like all the ideas that we're doing for streams, including a shitload long one for subclasses. And it's not in any kind of order.
Pretty normal.
It's not even in the order we thought of them. So I just picked the first one that we didn't have like particular things. Because I've not been having it, like my brain's been a bit there today. So I just picked the one where I was like, we don't have any particular ideas for this. We can just kind of go with it. And it has bitten me in the bum.
I mean, the feature creep came in real hard, real fast.
Bitch, that wasn't creep. That was a feature sprint.
Well, it went from, we've only got to come up with 4 things. No, we'll double it. 8 things. Oh wait, no, we'll do 1 for each course. So now we've got 16 things to come up with. With the option of changing them. Potentially every 4 levels, every level, or every short rest. Who knows?
Be a short rest.
So what do we know about the courts?
The canon of D&D, very fucking little. Genuinely, like the Feywild and the Shadowfell, despite how cool they are so underwritten in official texts. Like so
I thought
little.
The Shadowfell, though, surely. I thought the Shadowfell's got a bunch of, books in, like, Shadowfell or Shadowfell adjacent stuff.
The closest thing that we have to, like, official stuff set in the Shadowfell is Curse of Strahd. Because technically, Ravenloft is locked in the Shadowfell, but you don't interact with anything else outside of it.
What about Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft? Is that...
Yeah.
Yeah. And Curse of Strahd is obviously a campaign.
Yep. And Van Richten's Guide
so
to
it's,
Ravenloft,
it's not...
bad boy, is sort of a supplement to that. And there's some cool shit in here, but it's mostly about Ravenloft itself, not the Shadowfell at large.
Fair.
So there's some good shit in here. Like, there's a lot of good shit in here about, like, running horror campaigns. So I do very much recommend it.
Well, then let's make some decisions. So we've got to decide who, I think, realistically, I think what makes this is we decide who the spring king and queen are, the summer king and queen are, the autumn king and queen are, and the winter king and queen are. And that tells us what our subclasses are and what our things are and what type of things we want to go into for each.
So, If I might make a little addendum to that,
Sure.
I suggest we make this a two-parter. Because we've got an hour left.
We do have an hour left.
And if we're going to build up the Fey Courts and then do a subclass, we can't do that in an hour and do it justice.
Well, this is why I'm just saying, like,
So,
I think rapid run through, you know, who is spring, who is summer, who is autumn, who is winter.
no, because I think if we build up a little bit of, thank you.
Summer, Titania, and Oberon, very obvious.
Well,
I'm
not
here with the
necessarily.
Wintersmith for winter. Oh?
Well, not necessarily, because there are a lot of things that have Titania and Oberon as split.
Oh! We could pick a royal then for each, and that makes it easier.
If we do one for each, and there are also, the unfortunate thing is I believe there are also quite a number of sources that conflate Titania and the Queen of Air and Darkness. So.
Okay.
Fairy stories.
Well, I'm here with.
Cunt. They're an absolute cunt.
Yeah, and they have no shared logic.
Of course they fucking.
However, I can give you summer, autumn, and winter.
Okay.
Summer is Titania.
Yep.
Summer is the peak of growth when the things have happened and we are living at large. Oberon then is autumn, because Oberon, although he loves Titania, his love destroys Titania, and so they die together, and that is autumn.
Okay.
The Wintersmith is winter.
Okay.
The Wintersmith being, to all intents and purposes, genderless, neutral, and a being of stasis. Is an entity more than they are a person.
Interesting, because I was going to suggest someone different for winter.
I mean, go for it. This is just my ballpark opening gambit.
Well, I was going to suggest Mab.
Mab's a good shout for winter.
I mean, whenever she's mentioned...
Which means we could do opposing queens. Queen of summer, queen of winter, king of autumn, king of spring.
We could. I haven't got a fucking clue what spring could be, but...
well, spring has to be birth and rejuvenation.
Yeah.
So...
The unfortunate thing is, I now want to start going into, like, storytelling aspects as opposed to world building aspects.
I know.
Because I'd love the
Pan
idea. I'd
is an
love the
option.
idea of the Spring Court being usurped by Robin Goodfellow.
See, I had that, but I have also a different proposition for you.
Oh, my idea is a bad idea for world building. It's a good idea for a story. It's a bad idea for world building. So let's take your idea.
Okay, so we've gone Titania and Oberon, Mab for winter. Following Mab, Mordred for spring.
Mordred?
Because spring is not kind. Mordred is the sun. Mordred is the signal of promise. But also, spring is marred by sharp frosts and things dying that have just come to life. And Mordred led death, but Mordred was a prince of fairy.
I disagree with that last statement, but I kind of love the image you're painting here.
Technically, Mordred is fey, at least, in conception.
Okay, then we come down to the inconsistencies
of Arthurian legend, yes, which is a whole problem in and of itself.
Oh, but it's so fun.
Yeah, but equally well, like, Mab doesn't appear in half of the Arthurian legends either. So, like, if we're going with Mab...
I also like the idea of, with it being spring, and if Mordred is only half Fey, then you have that transition, and you have that bridge. Because spring is...
That's what I like.
The Fey are in the air.
Yeah.
So it's a maverick
and wouldn't it be
idea,
really
but
cool?
I kinda dig it.
Yeah. Well, because wouldn't it be cool if Mordred is born in spring, lives through the summer, but because of his human frailty, grows old in autumn and dies in winter?
Okay. I can fucking dig that. I can fucking dig that like a shallow grave.
Alright. But it means that we've got like beauty, joy, life type thing summer.
Yeah.
Like more mischief and mockery in autumn. Like Mab for me, Mab is like sad and bitter. I don't know about you.
That's Frost, man. That's Frost, baby.
Yeah, so like sadness and bitterness for winter. And then spring is like birth but also death. So we've got like, there's like a really solid balance, I think, there between the four.
I think we've done quite well for that. Also, by the way, if anybody ever wants to like really dig into some weird face shit and watch some really good D&D, go watch the Dimension 20 season, A Court of Fate and Flowers that Abrea Iyengar DM'd for. It's fucking mental. And it's really good.
I do need to watch it, to be fair.
It's very good. It's very good. It's a good one that you don't necessarily need to visually watch because there's not actually a great deal of visuals to it. There's no like maps or anything because it's very courtly intrigue and like court conversations. So it's good to have while you're doing other things, and then go, oh,
yeah,
scandalous. So if you ever wondered what Bridgerton would be like with the Fae, then it's that good.
I mean, that was the impression I always got.
Huh. Right.
All right. So
are there any other aspects of the Fae that we need to work out? Because we don't need to work out the geography of the Fae to make this work.
No.
We don't need to go hither, thither, and yon.
No. We've established that we're going to be able to shift between abilities. Each ability level gives us access to 4 things. And I think, yeah, we go from there. Although I think the first level, like two abilities at first level, I think one of them should be our spread of 4, and one should be like just like a base thing that sets up the subclass, just for ease and simplicity.
Yeah.
Hither, thither, and yon could honestly be a subclass feature. You know what? That's true.
I think it should be, yeah. And maybe we could do some movement shit with it.
Well, then, do you want to make that the first level thing?
No, I want to make that level. I want to make that later because teleportation stuff at first level can be a bit broken or a bit shit.
No, that's fair.
That's probably. Like
I was just thinking, like
thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, okay. Well, then let's do first level, like a set up the subclass thing, and then like a 4 wildly different lovely things. 6th level, we do like a combat thing for each. Or like a movement thing for each. Something like that.
Question.
Answer.
Are we going to say that you have to stick to the same court for each level up, or are we going to run it like the Totem Barbarian where you can choose different things and kind of spec out?
I feel like from the way that we've discussed it, it's more like Totem Barbarian. You get a pick. That feels like the vibe to me.
Because here's the thing is, you may have Fey blood. When you are playing this class, you may have Fey blood, but you are not Fey. You are not bound by their rules.
You are a little bit, though.
A little bit, but not completely. You are still a mortal.
Yes, yeah.
And as we have established, as many stories established, the mortal and the Fey do not play by the same rules.
No, they do not. It is the problem. Alright. Okay. So, what sets up this class?
Okay, there is one also another point of order I want to make. Just with him.
Go.
So we've got this expanded spell list.
Yes.
Do we want to change the spells per court?
I would presume so.
Cool. We need to make tables then.
Yes, we are going to need to make tables.
That's fine.
I feel like, yeah, you know what? I feel like picking the spells, because that always takes the longest.
Should we
Let's not do that. I mean, I feel like we could do some of that just off stream and just stick them on there.
Nah. I like.
Alright, I mean, if you want to make this a two-parter, then yeah, we can do spells just now.
Oh, fuck.
What?
That's a fun little piece of story building. Woohoo.
What?
Just gotta be very careful when you say famous in a certain accent.
You can't just say all that shit and then not elaborate.
He's driving.
Oh. I wasn't reading.
Oh no, I was reading a thing from.
Sorry, Dragon. God damn it. Did I tell you one of my players in my
Curse of Strahd.
Cursed Strahd campaign just lost their Fanus in a recent session, excommunicated by the Summer Court. That's cool as fuck. Okay,
That
I
is
give you
cool
that.
as
Sorry, I hadn't realized that I hadn't spotted that Dragon had typed a new message. I apologize, Dragon. I screamed at my brother for no reason.
The chat. That's the.
I know. I'm supposed to be. I know. I always watch the
man.
chat, but I didn't because I was pulling out my spellbook app.
Right. So. Let me just check the.
Too much to type in chat, lol.
So.
You'll see next Tuesday to get. Tuesday to get a Discord. Yeah, that
We really should.
One day.
Pull a finger out and work on the Discord, man. At some point.
The problem is neither of us have like the time.
Neither of us have the time or the energy to fully run a Discord. But we are working on it because we do have the bones of it set up. We just need to sort a few things.
Yes.
Because that's currently what actually we're talking to each other on, and it's what we ran the City of Mist campaign through, rather than just a direct call.
Yes.
It's actually easier with the cameras and stuff to do it through a server, and also means you can type notes easier.
You're mumbling. Yes, just like that.
Exactly.
That is exactly how you mumble. That is how you mumble.
So.
Yes.
I've written spell 1, spell 2, and cantrip here. We don't necessarily need to put a cantrip in, so we don't actually need to bother with that. Although, honestly, I would kind of recommend like the elemental manipulation cantrips. Shape water, control flame, mold earth, and I forgot what the last one was. Possibly druidcraft. Just
Create water, wasn't it?
Rotators. I know there are like elemental ones that exist.
Shape water, that's the one.
Shape water, mold earth, control flames. Maybe gust, yeah.
Gust, probably, yeah.
Because there's always the elemental associations kind of with the seasons.
Yes.
So we do not have to do that.
No.
Yeah, Gust's a cantrip. Gust of Wind, however, I think is a 2nd level spell, and yes, it's a pain in the arses for how they're organized. Because there are 2 spells. One is Gust, the other is Gust of Wind.
Yeah, Gust is a cantrip, though.
What the fuck? What else?
In which case, it's going to be Fire for summer, Wind for autumn.
No. Yeah, Fire, Summer, Wind, Autumn, Earth, Spring, Water, Winter.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I was half tempted to go Earth, winter for cold dead earth, and then
Nah. Spring
water of
showers.
life for spring. But yeah.
No, it's the growth of the earth out of spring. But also, let's not bother, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yes, Wizards of the Coast and their wonderful naming conventions. Isn't it just great?
I feel like Wizards of the Coast, like, at some, like, back in day, I feel like it was a little bit like Valve, in that just, like, it was a lot of guys dicking about until some of them kind of got together and made something, and then they just kept dicking about for the rest of the time.
Well, when you kind of have, for a long time, kind of cornered the market on TTRPGs, because they kind of had, ironically enough, until after D&D blew up and people were kind of like, this is cool, but I want to try other things. And then they discovered, and then you discover things like City of Mist and Cyberpunk and Blades in the Dark and shit like that. And we have the TTRPG space that we have today, where Wizards of the Coast's championship sort of leadership is very much being challenged.
I miss White Wolf. I've never played a White Wolf game, but I miss White Wolf.
Well, my advice is, I'm very annoyed that I can't remember the name of the production company off the top of my head, but the guys that Critical Role are working with to make Daggerheart, because that's where Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins, who are the sort of the two of the daddies of 5e, have ended up in fairly senior roles. So I think they're going to be, and I think they're going to be going for breadth rather than depth in Darrington Press. Thank you. I think they're going, from what they have said publicly, they're going to be going for breadths of RPGs and making lots of them, as opposed to depth and making Daggerheart like a big deal. Yeah.
Okay. I'm 50-50 on that as a concept.
Well, it just means that it just means that, like, that's a company to have a look at, to keep an eye on, because they'll produce something.
Yeah.
And honestly, the little bits from what I have heard about Daggerheart and kind of the gameplay, it's got something. It's got, like, I think it did some good character building stuff that I like, but not a lot else really interested me.
Fair.
But that's down to personal taste. I wish them all the luck, because frankly, Wizards of the Coast needs to fucking change. I understand that a lot of them are hampered severely by their parent company, but still.
Yeah. But they need competition.
Yeah. Healthy competition. Monopolies are bad for business. Well, they're bad for consumers.
Yeah. They are bad for consumers. Yeah. What were we talking about?
I don't know, some face shit.
Probably.
We were gonna do some spells. We're gonna do some spells.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we need first, second, third.
I really
fourth,
miss
and
my
fifth
old spell. Yeah.
And two.
I have to say, I really miss my old spellbook app, because it was really good, and the one I've got now is really shit, and I can't find a decent one.
So, yeah, just because we've got 45 minutes left before we go digging into the spells. I think what we should maybe do is decide on kind of the general theme of the abilities for each court.
Okay.
Because if we have that, that gives us a template to kind of go like, okay, we're looking for these kinds of spells.
Well, that was what I was thinking with the, choosing who, like who's in charge of each one, is like, what is each one symbolic of?
Yeah, but I think we need to nail that a bit more kind of gameplay down before we go into the spells, because otherwise I know I'm confused. So, winter, map. You're talking bitter, cold, distant.
Yeah.
That sounds defensive to me.
Yeah.
That sounds like pulling defensive. Of course, you're going to be doing like spells with cold damage. But that sounds like shielding yourself, sealing your heart, Snow Queen kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably defensive and cold spells.
Yeah.
So like Armor of Agathis is going on there for sure.
100%.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
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 Mordred. We're talking
Life and death.
life and death.
Yeah. So we're looking at things around necromancy, things around radiance.
Necromancy, maybe like a couple of healing spells or healing abilities.
Maybe. But yeah, it's. I think Circle of Life and Death is very much the vibe. Would be my Mordred vibe.
Okay, let's keep that loose because there's a lot we can do with
Yeah.
Circle of Life and Death.
Aye.
Summer, the fiery celebration of Titania.
Yeah, fire, joy, big, bright and bold.
Big, bright, and
You know.
so this will be a lot of
What spells would you cast at Pride Parade?
what? Yeah, pyrotechnics would be a
Pyrotechnics.
pyrotechnics, color spray. Fireball. It'll be fireball. Fuck it. One of them's gonna be fireball.
Yeah.
Autumn. We have the mischief of Oberon.
Yes.
So I'm just thinking fuckery.
So these are. Yeah, trickery and fuckery.
If I can spell trickery right. Trickery and fuckery.
Indeed.
So yeah, that'll be like illusions, some mental spells, maybe like turning your opponents on each other kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something like
And
Crown of Madness.
Vicious Mockery. Yeah, and Vicious Mockery is our cantrip.
Yeah, Vicious Mockery. I mean, again, I think we should maybe not do cantrips, but... Well,
I mean,
that's the thing.
yeah,
What
okay,
cantrips,
we'll
okay,
not
what
do
cantrips would we do? Because for the winter, I'd say either Blade Ward or Ray of Frost.
I'm for Blade Ward. I like Blade Ward.
Because I think Blade Ward got changed to be not shit.
I mean,
In the new
hopefully.
book. 'Cause I know that True Strike got changed to be not shit.
Oh, that's why that's doubled up. PHB 2024. PHB 2024. Creature makes an attack roll against you. Before the spell ends, the attacker subtracts 1d4 from the attack roll. No, that's shit. Well, it's not shit, but it's not great. OG1 is also pretty shit, though.
Concentration. Oh no, OG1 is bad because it only lasts for a thing. At least with Blade Ward, it is concentration, so you can use it more than once.
That's fair. Right. Well then, Chill Touch or Ray of Frost?
I would go with Ray of Frost.
Ray of Frost it is. Alright. For spring, I am...
Spare the Dying?
what's EGW?
Explorer's Guide to Wildemount.
Oh, right, that's why.
That's the critical role book.
Sapping Sting is the spell.
Yeah. Can't remember what it does.
Starry Wisp, that's what I was looking at for spring. I kinda like it.
Starry Wisp? I don't know.
It's a D8 of radiant damage, and whatever you hit emits dim light in a 10-foot radius.
What's that from?
PHB 2024.
Oh, it's one of the new ones.
Yeah.
Yep. Starry Wisp. Evocation cantrip, Bard and Druid. You launch a mote of light at one creature or object within range. Range spell attack. On a hit, takes a d8 of radiant damage until the end of your turn. It emits dim light in a 10-foot radius and can't benefit from being invisible.
Good even Adams.
That's really good.
We are trying to pull together what few brain cells we share to D some D's.
Yeah. Decent dose.
I love how you name D some does.
I'm thinking Starry Wisp or Spare the Dying. Because we're doing sort of Circle of Life and Death.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, Spare the Dying's like a good solid one as well. I am cool with either.
Because I don't want to just make them all combat. Because like the next one
No.
has to be Firebolt.
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Firebolt. It has to be Firebolt.
It's either Firebolt or Control Flames. So we could do, if we did Ray of Frost and Vicious Mockery, that means we could do 2 combat and 2 non-combat. And
yeah.
do Control Flames for the next one and Spare the Dying for this one.
Yeah. Alright, let's do that then.
Okay. So that kind of evens it out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, oh, what's your... Yeah. And also, like, it frees you up because you can just take Firebolt normally as a sorcerer.
Yeah.
So it means that you're not necessarily losing a primary damage dealer.
Yeah.
But yeah, because then we'll need 1st to 5th level spells for everything in that kind of vein.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like first one. Armor of Agathis is a 1st level spell.
I believe so.
Yeah, so
it's just not worth anything unless you cast it above 1st level.
Well, it does alright. It actually does alright if you have it at very early levels and it scales quite well.
Yeah. Yes, Armor of Agathis for winter, I think.
Armor of Agathis,
absolutely
and we need another
the deal.
Kind of cold spell. This is the content you all waited for. 2 guys looking at spellbooks on their fucking phones.
Absolutely. Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
God,
right,
I fucking hate this spellbook app, man.
Just get the fucking spell list.
Absolutely love it.
1st level. Armor of Agathis. Oh, Bane, I think, actually might not be a bad one.
Bane might be a lovely one.
That's very bitter. That's very much bitterness on your opponents. It's very, very mad sort of.
Absolutely. Yep. Right. I'm gonna. This is why I've got so many things fucking doubled up. Is because I've got fucking PHB 2014 and PHB 2024. I'm taking PHB 2024 out of my list.
Yeah.
I'm just taking it out because it's doubling up all my spells and it's fucking me off.
Fair enough. I would say Bane or Ice Knife would be the next obvious one.
Yeah. Frost Fingers, which is a wizard spell from RF.
Burning
the fuck
Hands
is RF? Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically Burning Man. It's Burning Hands but cold.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah. False
and it's a little bit different. Jay, Autumn needs to get silvery barbs.
Oh Jesus Christ! Autumn's gonna get silvery barbs, isn't it?
Yeah, it fucking is.
Oh fuck.
Possibly also Tasha's Hideous Laughter.
I was actually gonna go for Disguise Self. Would have been my call for Autumn.
Disguise Self is a good one for Autumn. I like that.
It's very much that kind of trickery and masking oneself.
I think so. Why don't you like It's not that I don't like PHB 2024. It's that what I'm looking at is a piece of shit, and and all of the spells are just like doubled up, and it's fucking with my head, and I'm struggling. Jay has PHB 24. Jay loves it. He's the one who understands it.
Yeah.
I'm just struggling with how garbage it makes my technology.
To be fair, I'm using the 5e wiki dot at the moment.
Yeah, I've got that too, but yeah. I'm like, I don't want to. Yeah,
but this is
I've got sorcerer spell list up, but like
this is all the 2014 version of spells anyway, because they've basically just gone right. We're gonna fucking separate the two.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am getting old. I am getting old, Adams. I can't read properly. I went to the doctor's for my knee today because my knee aches in the cold. That's how old I am. Yeah, I was gonna say, fuck giving Wizards of the Coast my money. Like, holy shit, you want me to pay for fucking D&D Beyond? Fuck you. Yeah.
Don't pay for fucking D&D Beyond, especially because they made it worse.
Pardon me.
Anyway, so what was the other thing we were thinking of for winter?
Ice Knife.
Ice Knife or Bane?
I think Bane. Bane is more fun.
Okay.
Also, do sorcerers get Bane?
Nope. I'm pretty sure Bane is actually just a
All the
cleric
more all the more reason to pick it.
Yeah. Bard and cleric.
Bard and cleric.
Okay.
Hey, Dragon's home! Time for story time. Character was raised in the summer court, and his godmother, at least as far as he called her, was Titania. He was tasked with going to different planes to learn. Well, in the midst of his planar travel, he meets one of the other characters, obviously, and ends up basically swearing himself to her. Part 1. Ah, man. Yeah, I was gonna say, Adam's like so much goodwill squandered. Like, just Hasbro, man. And it's hard because I grew up loving Transformers, and Transformers was like Hasbro's biggest property for years.
Yeah.
And then they decided, well, we're just gonna take Dungeons and Dragons and we're just going to commodify the shit out of it. Like, I don't have an issue with capitalism in my media when it's clear about what it's there for. Like, Transformers was there to sell toys to children. That's okay. Children need things to want to buy toys from. That's okay. But then invading an adult space that was not about, like, vast monopolies. Like, it was about releasing some dodgy books and some people being like, well, I am upset that grappling is worse in this book than in this book. And I love that. But it's not a capitalist space.
Really not. It's a
Hasbro...
bad setup for quick, continuous revenue.
Yeah. Like, it's not a place that a toy manufacturer has any business being.
I mean, yeah, like... Well, they really should just go all in on miniatures.
I mean, they should. They absolutely should. But also, they should do what, Disney do and just, like, license it everywhere. Oh, Knight Commander of the Summer Court. And then he's like, no, actually, see this lassie? Fucking love this lassie. That's my lady right there.
No, Jamie, I haven't seen the story about the BG3 miniatures. What happened?
What happened about the BG3 miniatures? No. Oh, Jay, I think we're getting two stories at once. A cool story and a sad story. That's what we're here for. Hey, it's summer and winter. Cool story and bad story. It's exactly what we're doing.
So, spring. What are first level spring things do you think would be good? Circle of Life and Death. I would argue, I think it's here. Oh no, it's not a first level spell. Never mind.
It is not a first level spell.
You don't know what I was looking for.
Circle of Life and Death.
No,
oh no,
I was looking for Wither
That's
and Blue.
not a spell. That's a concept.
Yeah, I was looking for Wither and Blue. Which I think is a must be a second level spell then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wither and Blue, because that's exactly the thing we're looking for. But we'll get to that on second level stuff.
I kind of like create or destroy water.
Okay.
as like a life and death type thing.
Got a bot in the chat if you want
And then, oh yeah, we do.
to. Yeah. Oh mate, checking
So
elbow.
let's
Fuck
see.
off. 80.
Uh,
Oh Jesus.
ban. Oh,
Oh, okay.
so they have been banned, but I need to delete that as well. Oh no, I don't know. Can I delete that? I'd like to delete that message. Delete. Why is it not doing it? Why can't this just be like, right? It's currently banned. Yes, I know they're currently banned. Can I delete this message though, please? Oh, fuck!
Fuck!
No! I didn't delete Jamie's message. Shit! Sorry, Jamie.
Damn it, Chris!
From WizKids. So, fuck. I'm lost. I give up. I give up on channel moderation. I give up. The WizKids did BG3 things, and the paintings are so bad. People got pissed. Jamie has sent me the story on Messenger. I am bad at things. False Life, I think, is also a good spring
False
spell.
Life, I think, was another one. Yeah, that was one I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So that's bunch of temporary hit points. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even, cause it's right. I give up. I don't know who. I don't know. I don't know if that. I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know. I give up.
None of us are operating at 100% right now.
We are not, and that I think includes fucking Twitch, which is not. Yeah. Anyway, Summer.
Sorry, were we just doing False Life and what was the other one? Create or Destroy Water?
Create, destroy water, unless you've got a better option.
Nope.
I'm still looking.
Summer, Control Flames, Color Spray.
Color spray, fuck yes.
And Fairy Fire would be the other one I would recommend, but also.
Yeah.
But
I'm
only
here for
one
that.
is really. Well, they're both very good offensive support spells. Because Color Spray blinds people, and Fairy Fire gives everyone advantage. Yeah, because Color Spray is basically, it's a bit like Sleep, but for blinding people.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah. So Color Spray, and it was Fairy Fire. Because this class has to have access to Fairy Fire.
It does. It's that would, how could it not? And then for Autumn,
I would say Disguise Self.
yeah, we had Disguise Self and Silvery Barbs.
Yeah. So we've got quite. Yeah, we've gone quite along the utility stuff here.
Well, I think that's one of the good things about first level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, still got 20 minutes left. You want to do second level?
Sure. Not got anything else to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Aside from shit on Wizards of the Coast from a great height.
That is. Because we're at a great height here.
I have always considered myself at a great height.
I'm fucking taller than you.
True, but I was wearing a 14-foot puppet today, so I felt very tall.
That's a fair point. Alright, winter. Cold and defensive spells. Bark Skin might not be a bad idea. Or possibly Blur.
Might not be a bad idea at all.
Oh, wait. No.
We have part 2 of Dragon's story.
Read Dragon's thing.
Hang on. Well, there were 3 great sins he committed. 1, falling in love with a mortal. 2,
almost revoking his oath to the summer court in swearing himself to Idana. And 3, before they went to fight Strahd, he called himself Ruthan Shea. So he followed in the footsteps of Titania's legitimate son, the Prince of Frost, and he called himself, in sense, a god. Lol. That was part 2.
That sounds like that's a character that had a lot of fun, and
It does sound like a lot of fun, doesn't it?
that is actually a lot of fun. I'm very in favor of that. Oh, right. I think Blur is a good choice for winter because it's defensive.
Yeah.
Well, I think bark skin is less thematically good, just because it's bark skin.
It's not the most. It's not the most.
No.
Um.
And kind of like the blur of a snowstorm and that kind of idea.
Yeah. Hey. Moonbeam.
That feels more like a summer thing.
I mean, okay. I was thinking winter because it's the darkest of night.
It is the darkest of night, but I kind of want to push more onto the defensive stuff.
Fair. That's fair. Well, Rhymes binding ice is a thing.
Rhymes
Oh,
binding
hello.
ice might actually be perfect. It's one of the draconic spells,
Hello,
if I remember
Poppy.
correctly. Like it's one of the fizz bands.
Hello.
And yeah, you basically just freeze a bunch of people in place. So fuck yeah, that should go in.
You're streaming.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, I've just had a fuzz bum come in for all the attention, and it's hard because she doesn't like the box. She doesn't like coming into my office, but she wants all the attention. All right. So what does Rhymes do again?
Burst of cold energy emanates from you in a 30-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a con save. On a fail, it takes 3d8 cold damage and is hindered by icy formations for a minute, or until it or another creature within reach of it uses an action to break away the ice. A creature hindered by ice has its speed reduced to 0. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and isn't hindered by ice.
That sounds pretty fucking great.
Yep. Having that.
Yep.
And Blur.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Spring thing. Wither and
Spring
Bloom
thing.
is the one spell
Yeah.
I would absolutely go for this.
All right.
It's a
Let's do it
necromancy
then.
spell. You invoke both death and life upon a 10-foot radius sphere centered on a point within range. Each creature of your choice in that area must make a con saving throw, taking 2d6 necrotic damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. Non-magical vegetation in that area withers. In addition, one creature of your choice in that area can spend and roll one of its unspent hit dice and regain a number of hit points equal to the roll plus your spellcasting ability modifier. So it is that perfect
Nice.
circle of life and death thing we're talking about.
I'm a fan of that. It's pretty good. Alright.
Named after the...
What else are we gonna have in there?
I mean, we could go a bit natural and look at. Oh, I don't know.
Okay, Poppy.
Um,
I was looking at something a second ago. I was like, this could be very good. What was it? What was it? What was it? What was it?
I mean, healing spirit, maybe, if we want to give it a bit more kind of that medical utility.
Yeah, and again, it's, we need to be both like healing and killing.
Yeah.
And it's like, and if we're killing, we're just killing. It's not
Yeah.
a. Yeah.
Or
It's
maybe-
not a
Or maybe
element
give the Misty
vibe to
Step.
it. It's just death.
Maybe Misty Step, just to give that a little bit extra, because we've already got pretty good. Nah, never mind.
I know. It's hard. It's hard. We have well, I say we. I pushed for this one. We have chosen a hard one. You could do enhance ability.
I did think about that, yeah. Oh, actually, if you want that kind of like protection but also death thing, warding bond might not be a bad idea.
Okay, that's word. I've never used warding bond. How does it work?
The spell wards a willing creature and creates a mystical connection between you and the target. While the target is within 60 feet of you, it has a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws and resistance to all damage. Also, each time it takes damage, you take the same amount of damage.
I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's a really good, solid one, but it's nice and risky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good for that. Okay, fire, summer, offense.
Summer.
Fuck yes.
Offense. Absolutely. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
So
And
shall
the
we just?
5 horses behind that.
So just to add on to the idea of Fae and maybe not being particularly fond of iron, can I maybe suggest heat metal?
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And also because sorcerers don't get it, and the last few spells we've put in, unfortunately. Well, no, sorcerers don't get warding bond, but most of the others have been sorcerer spells. And then to make it a bit more flair, pyrotechnics. Nah. It's just summon fireworks. Yeah, I think pyrotechnics, to be honest. Oh, that sounds really fun, Dragon.
Hey, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Alright, that's Lyra away.
Yeah, I think pyrotechnics, which is basically I cast summon fireworks.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
So yeah.
Alright, which leads us
blinding
to...
people.
Yeah. Which leads us to autumn. I
Can I suggest
am
suggestion?
going to suggest... Oh, suggestion would be good. I was going to go with Phantasmal Force.
Phantasmal Force to give it like a bit more kind of oomph. Or Mind Spike. Mind Spike.
Yeah. Mind Spike is good.
Mirror Image might not be a bad idea as well.
Oh, this is true. This is true. Yeah, this is
What a
true. You
trickery
know, the
fucker
mirror
it is.
image. It is delightful.
I mean, okay, the only point I will say against Mirror Image and Mind Spike is that sorcerers already get them.
All right.
Yeah, same with Phantasmal Force.
Yes. And there's a...
Suggestion, I would guess. It's a fairly broad one. Yeah. Fuck it. Okay, so sorcerers already getting it isn't exactly something that should stop us.
It's not gonna. Yeah, it shouldn't be the
Yeah, it shouldn't be the. Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah. The defining factor.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that's a fun one.
What?
Gift of Gab.
I went past that and I was like, oh, we should come back to that.
Yeah.
Jim Dark Magic from Acquisitions Incorporated.
Yep. When you cast the spell, you skillfully reshape the memories of listeners in your immediate area so that each creature of your choice within 5 feet of you forgets everything you said within the last 6 seconds. Those creatures then remember what that you actually said the words you speak is the verbal component of this spell.
I do like that. That's pretty good.
It's really good for like little bits of fuckery.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if we do... Yeah. Either... Okay, so I think we should do sort of one out of combat fuckery and one in combat fuckery thing.
Alright.
So...
Could take Enthrall.
Enthrall? What the fuck does Enthrall do?
Wisdom say creatures your choice. You can within range. Yep.
Disadvantage on perception check made to perceive any creature other than you until the spell ends. That's actually a bit shit.
That's kind of cool. Okay.
It's cool in concept. Practically, it's actually a bit shit.
Alright. Well, you wanted to give him Crown of Madness anyway.
I did think of it, yeah, Crown of Madness actually. That was the one that came to mind. So yeah, drive him crazy.
Yeah. Could also do Alter Self.
Oh. That could be fun. Nah, let's maybe leave Alter Self. So I like your idea of Phantasmal Force.
Alright.
Kind of, creating a big illusion. Kind of mess with people. And then Suggestion. Let's go with Phantasmal Force and Suggestion.
Deal.
Because Suggestion, you can really fuck with people.
Yeah. And that's 10-2.
Yeah, I think that's enough. Right, folks. Thank you for joining us. Sorry we weren't exactly up to form today. It's life, motherfuckers. We'll be back next week.
It is indeed.
I really do promise we'll be back next week to finish this off and actually do the Sorcerer properly. That's not even the right month anymore. Yeah, I got nothing else on. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be here. We will do things. I promise. Yeah. You can follow us on various spaces and do various things. I am on Twitter at JonathanHoney4, although 9/10 of the things you get, in fact, pretty much all you're going to get is the announcement of these streams, so keep it up there. All of our previous shit is on Facebook. It's on fucking YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
It's on fucking YouTube. Brothers Honey, FaceTube and Ubook and all that crap. You can follow my games company, All Alliance Games, at @all_games on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, all that. I promise we haven't gone away. We've just been thrown for a six.
We're just
and we're getting back on.
Yeah, this is the hard time of year.
It really
I can be found at Chris Honey Actor on Instagram. My theatre company, Short and Sweet Theatre, can be found on Instagram, on Facebook, on probably some other places, Twitter, I believe. Yeah, but yeah, we are at Short and Sweet Theatre.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. Come find us all, love our things, look at us on YouTube, come watch these streams, and most importantly, do not watch us and drive, dragon. Good night. Bye.